Hello everyone and welcome to another video here at An Unwelcome Truth. Today I suppose this would be like one of the introductory videos. But I'm going to get right into it. We're realizing in this country, this is June 23rd, 2026, and we're seeing that we've been heading in the wrong direction just as a nation, just with everything. I mean, we've become slaves to our own economy. The dollar is the investor now, and we're the product. We're the stocks. How is that? How have we made slaves of ourselves here? Now we've got the Bible and we've got teachings, we've got all of these different things that don't seem to help. Now, how clearly can I say this? Here's what we've done, okay? We've made a God in our own image. And that God says, these things are permissible and these things aren't. And it depends on how you feel and what's going on in your life. There's no straight, unchangeable truth to any facet of our foundation in this country. Because of that, we're suffering and we're kneeling before this God. This God is pleasing your boss, doing good, following the rules, trying to get ahead as far as America will let you. That's the God that we kneel to. That is a God that is an inanimate God of wood that has no power to change anything in our personal lives and allow us to develop as people. That God is powerless. And what we've done is we have created we've done the same thing that these countries have done that God was trying to tell Israel to stay away from. They were you remember when, was that Elijah? He was at that altar of, with those priests, and they cut themselves and cried out, and they did that for hours. That's what you're doing. You go clock in and you suffer under this system in which you can't win. You can't win in this system. We're all prisoners. Some of us just have shackles of gold. That's all that's happening here. And we go and we try to please these entities, and we just run ourselves just through completely to where we're spent, and we have not built anything for ourselves. We have not developed as people. All we've done is leave our morals at the door when we leave to go to work, and we come back tired. That's the American dream is what it is. That's the American God of wood. How did this happen? The reason why this happened is because we started off on the wrong foot in this country. And let me say this. Now, this is going to enter into territory that's really uncomfortable for a lot of us, but nothing good is comfortable. Let me just say that before we continue. When you exercise, that is not comfortable. That's hard work and it strains your body. But after a while, you rest and then you see the results. Everything good comes like that. You practice on an instrument and you can't seem to get it right. And then after a while, you're able to play what you practiced. So we're at a point now where we have to see that what we've done in history is catching up to us. We have to be able to make that link, because we think to ourselves, well, how did this happen to us? Why are we here? How do we turn this around? Do we vote someone else into office? Like, what do we do? We're going just every different way. Everyone's scattering. That's what's happening now. And there's a growing, I guess I could call it a database of information, but there's no real power in that. And we're going to see that after a while. We keep using these entities that give us these quick search results and everything. We're not learning anything. We're just learning to be dependent on that God of wood that we've created. So we need to start making the connection and seeing that, okay, something happened here. Let's go back a few hundred years. Okay, so these people came over here. These people were in Europe, and they came over here for a new start, but they treated the people who were over here in a way that they wouldn't want to be treated. And they did all of these different things. And now we're here and we seem to be slaves to something else. Don't you see that there's a connection there between those two? And see, we're not teaching that. The school system is not going to tell you that we made a mistake. They're going to tell you that we have science and we've got psychology and all of these different things, and we have this vast expanse of information. But when you get out of school and you really start to see, that we're in a system, you'll realize that the system is not created to help you in any way, because the system was created to keep a certain group of people from advancing. And you did not reset the system. You didn't rebuild the foundation. That's like, what can I say? That's almost like you build a restaurant and then you try to turn that restaurant into a barbershop. It doesn't have, it's got things for a restaurant. So it's not going to be an ideal barbershop because you have to or what could I say? A bank versus a restaurant, or, a factory versus an apartment complex. You built one structure and now you want to turn it into something different. That doesn't work. So we're trying to, it's like we built an apartment from a factory, like I just said. And now we're working in the factory, but it's like we're slaves to the factory because we started this country with the intentions of it being a factory where humans are the goods, the commodity. And now we're wondering why we're all slaves. That's because we didn't intend to set anyone free. It was just transferred. So what do we do with all this? We need to start in the Bible again and go from Genesis and seek to understand. Take everything you know about Christianity and just, all of our doctrines and theories and everything. Put that on one side and you study for yourself, by yourself, and see what you find. If you don't know something, stop and figure out why that says that thing. If you don't know the meaning of a word, figure that out. If you don't know why someone is named in the Bible, look at who we're dealing with, who inspired the words from this book. We're supposed to be detectives. We're supposed to take a magnifying glass to everything that's said, and we don't do that. That's why the instruction that we seem to have is something that repulses us and that makes us, it's disgusting to us because it's our own reflection. When we look in the Bible, we see our own reflection because it's like we've turned it into that by the way we interpret what's said there. And we have to tear all that down. So basically what I'm saying is that the foundation of that even needs to be torn down too, because the foundation of our interpretations in Christianity is, I guess they grew up together, that foundation and then the foundation of what was done to us, my people and the natives in this country. Those things grew up at the same time. So you're going to have something that agrees with the other thing. So now we're trying to spin, straw into gold here, and it's not working for us. So my message here is just admit that we're wrong and that we've always been wrong in this country. Admit that right now. Go ahead and do it. Yes, I'm waiting on you, because that's the first thing that's what unlocks any further information, the information that we grasp and we claw at. That's what brings that out. You have to admit that you have to admit your own fault first. That's how any apology and amends begins to happen, because you see yourself as who you are. And I'm telling you, unless we do that, we're not going to see ourselves clearly. So I guess the purpose of this channel is for us to step through from Genesis and untangle all of these knots that we've created. This thing that we made that looks like us. When we open the Bible, we see our faces in it. So we need to get rid of that and get the interpretations right. We think, well, what's he saying? We're not all wrong about this. Nations are wrong about things all the time. That's what the Bible is talking about. How a group of people were all wrong. All of them. And you think that can't happen to you. That can't be us. That's not America. No, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Sooner or later, we're going to realize this stuff. It's better that it's now in 2026 than in 2030 when something else happens, and things go away, never to return again. The sooner, the better. That's all I'm saying.